Hello, everyone, and welcome to this segment of Industry Insights by G2, which features hot takes and actionable advice from business leaders all around the world. This is a professional spotlight with Jon Ferrara, the founder and CEO of Nimble, a social sales and marketing CRM. My name is Alexandra Vasquez. I am a senior content marketing specialist here at G2, and I'm so excited to share this interview with you all and to speak with you today, Jon. Thank you so much for your time.
You bet, Alexandra. I'm so excited to be here with you to have this conversation. I really believe that we're on this planet to grow, and the best way to grow is by helping other people grow. And ideally, through this conversation, we might impart some tidbits that might blow a little bit of wind in the people's sails of the people that listen to this.
Amazing. I love it. That's a great way to intro this. And to get a little bit more specific, today Jon and I will be discussing his journey to leading his own CRM company, how the CRM industry has changed within his over 30 years of experience in the field, and what the future of CRM platforms look like with the rise of AI. But before we get too deep into that, how about some icebreaker questions to warm us up a little bit?
Let's go.
Amazing. So, in the theme of our weekly newsletter, G2T, we love to ask, what is your favorite beverage?
My favorite beverage is Appalachian spring water. I live in the mountains here in North Carolina, Western Appalachias, and the water here is just amazing. And I think we're made of water, right? Water and salt and stardust, and my body just loves it. Drink it all the time,
Amazing. That sounds really nice. I've never craved a cup of water, but you're making it happen.
right?
Um, so, getting a little bit more professional with it, what was your very first job, and what was something you learned from it?
Well, my first job, I worked on my father's car lot. He had a car dealership. He had the first Subaru dealership in California back in the 70s. And what I learned from it is I never wanted to work for my dad again. And I never wanted to be in sales. I achieved one of those things, never working for my dad again. But it turned out that even though I shunned his career, it was the learning through osmosis of my dad's entrepreneurial skills that enabled me to really pioneer serum as we know it today by founding a company called Goldmine back in the day. So thanks, Dad.
That's amazing. I love it. So now jumping forward to today's work style, I would love to ask you, what are some of your best time management tools?
Write it down. Write it down. If you don't write it down, you're going to forget about it. We're all human. And in today's short span of attention that we all are subject to as we do what we do in life, right? It's amazing that my thumb isn't a little bit more ambidextrous, right? Um, we forget things. And I think the measure of a human being is saying what they're going to do and doing what they say. And so write it down. I like to start my day with a list of the things I want to accomplish that day. And I put it right in front of me and I keep it there until I get it done.
Love it, love it. And then to close out, oh, I know, two more questions. And I can't believe I almost forgot this one because it's pretty important. G2, we're all about software. That's kind of our bread and butter. So I'd love to ask you, what's your favorite software in your current tech stack?
Well, I think relationships are key to life success. And they say that your network is your net worth. And so my favorite piece of my tech stack, I'm going to say, is Nimble. Why? Because it helps me to manage my overconnected network that we all sort of become part of in today's social tech world. And I think that it's really important to stay in contact with people that you cherish and want to support. And Mae West said, "Out of sight is out of mind, and out of mind is out of money, honey." So being able to stay top of mind with the people I dig is critical to my journey in life. And so I try to do it in as nimble a way as possible.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, if it makes you feel any better, you're not the only one to say your own software, but I mean, you got to be your own biggest fan, in my opinion. So
Yeah, right,
no shame in the game.
right.
And to close us out on our icebreaker questions, work is great. We love our jobs, but it's not always sunshine and rainbows. So what are some problems or issues at work that make you just want to throw the laptop out the window? You're done.
Well, it'd be easy to say when it's not working, right? Or when the internet's down, right? But that's too easy, right? You want to hear something juicy. Um, so I think one of the hardest parts of a job are the human aspects, because human beings they're human, right? And they do the darndest things, and sometimes they can really frustrate you in any number of ways. But um, but I try to lean into those frustrations because I find that the things that frustrate me are the things that I might be doing myself. Like maybe following a car too close, or doing what you do where people kind of drive by and go, you know. So I try to, when I feel a discomfort with a team member, I lean into them and I ask them a question, kind of open-ended. How you doing? Tell me what's going on. And then just shut up and let them go. Because I think we all want to be heard, right? And we all want to be in an environment where we feel safe and I try to create that environment with my team and let them get it off their chest, because it makes them feel better. And then the other thing is blocking and tackling are the things that make it hard for our team to deliver the best experience possible. Like policies that say, no, you can't do that because it's a policy. No, I want to empower every single team member that's touching our constituency. And I say constituency because not just prospects and customers that grow our business. We connect with editors, analysts, bloggers, influencers, blah, 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 to empower that customer facing business team members to make whatever decision they need to make to ensure the journey of that customer is as delightful as possible. And the company that really inspired me is Apple. You go into an Apple store and generally you walk out of there happy. Why? They hired the people who designed Rich Carlton's customer service to design a book for them. And it's literally that big. And it's all about delivering delightfulness to your customers. And so that's one of my passions,
I love that. I think that's amazing. I think that emotional intelligence goes a long way in an industry like this.
right?
Yeah, that's
Because when all the software is kind of the same, right? Soon AI is going to replicate all of the software. How do you differentiate yourself, right? And a dear friend of mine says, the more digital we get, the more human we need to be. We need to be more human. And so inject humanness into your customer experience and journey, and that will create connections with your community that will be inseparable.
I love that. I think that's amazing. So that wraps up our warm-up questions. I would love to dive a little bit deeper into you and your career. And let's just start a little open-ended. Let's start with tell us about yourself. Tell us about your career
Ah,
and what brought you to the world of CRM.
well, it's a couple things that really affected my trajectory. One of which is my mom put me on an airplane and flew me to New York City when I was 9 years old. And in the process of the starry-eyed kid being like, wow, New York City, because everybody gets to experience it in books and stuff, but seeing it in real life, I went into the Pan Am building, which now is the MetLife building, but it used to be the Pan Am building right there on, I think, Madison Avenue, I think. Or maybe one Park Place area. But anyways, there was a computer terminal in the lobby, and I went and touched it, and it changed my life. It was IBM Selectric running Eliza, which is a AI program that basically is like a therapist. So it says, "Hey, tell me your name, John. How you doing, John? I'm okay. Well, you don't really sound okay. Maybe, so it interacts with you in that human way that, in 1970, in 69, that was huge. Like, whoa, like weebie-jeebies. And so that made me want to pour myself into technology. Growing up on my dad's car lot taught me a lot about relationships and the power of connecting with others. And not just the car lot. My dad was a people person. He just talked to anybody, and I became him. And so that combination of things put me on a path to being technical. I didn't want to be in sales, so I got a job at T-Space Income for a couple of years. I found out I'm not an aerospace guy. I got a job at a startup in Boston, and there they put me in sales. And there were no sales tools back then. In 1986 and 87, there was no CRM, contact manager, market automation, sales enablement, SFA, nothing. You had a spreadsheet for your forecast. You had your day timer, which was a leather-based calendar thing that you put your appointments and your to-dos. And that's how I ran my life. And I got pieces of paper which were effectively names of IT people in big corporations, and that's called a lead. I call them, cold call them, make notes on the paper, put my forecast in the spreadsheet, and communicated with my team with email and paper. And I said, this is so stupid. And I looked around for a program that would run a wire through all of our date timers. So everybody was on one page because I knew it was more than me that was touching the customer. There was sales and marketing, support, management, shipping, PR, blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to run a wire through all of our contacts so that no matter who picked up the phone, you knew who you're talking to, what happened, who did it, what's going to happen, who's going to do it. So I wanted email, contact, and calendar unified with sales and market automation. It didn't exist. And so there was no Outlook, there was no Salesforce, there was no HubSpot, there was nothing. So I started a company called Goldmine, and Goldmine started on $5,000, never took a dime of venture, grew it to north of $100 million a year in revenue, which was real money in the 90s. And we basically pioneered contact management, CRM, and market automation because I trademarked automated processes 35 years ago, which was actions based on triggers, if this, then that, which is basically what you have in a market automation system. You capture a lead from a website, depending on what that lead looks like, you put them into a drip track that you do over time until they become lead qualified. And that didn't exist. But the most important thing we pioneered at Goldmine was contact management because that's the heart of a business. Now, today, you don't have a team contact manager because Google and Microsoft are your email productivity suites, and neither of them have a team contact platform for the whole company. Every team member has a separate contact database, and that means you don't have a relationship manager for the whole company today. What you have, maybe, is a CRM for salespeople. And then the accounting people running the accounting program and marketing people use the email marketing thing, but you don't have a single record of the relationships that your business deals with. And that is contact management. And that's really what we pioneered at Goldmine. And that's the heart of Nimble is a team relationship manager for the whole company, not just salespeople.
Amazing. That was a great answer. And I think it helped me get a little bit of a better idea of what inspired you to start Nimble. But now a little bit different these days than when you started Goldmine, for example. The world of CRM, there's a ton of tools, just like Nimble, just like any other. So I'd love to learn from you what you think differentiates Nimble from other CRM tools.
Great question. I think there's got to be 100 bazillion CRMs out there. Funny thing is that when I started, there was really only one or two. And today there's a million or so. So what differentiates Nimble is that every other CRM is mainly designed for salespeople. And that's great. So you Google sales CRM, Pipedrive, Salesforce, blah, blah, blah. The reality is salespeople are less than 5% of any company. In most cases, even less. And is all that company does is pound prospects and customers? So number one is Nimble is a CRM for the whole company, not just salespeople. Number two is um, the whole outcome of first off, a CRM today is designed for management reporting, not salesperson engagement. That's why when you buy a CRM today, like Salesforce, you have to buy Outreach.io or SalesLoft as the outreach tool for the sales rep. Then you got to buy ZoomInfo as the lead enrichment tool. And then you got to have the CRM and have all that stuff talk to each other and have the sales rep smart enough to use it. In which case they're not. So you have to hire a sales administrator to run all that stuff. And those tools are $150 per rep per month. So you got $450 per rep per month in tech stack that you're using. And that's because CRM systems aren't designed for engagement, they're designed for reporting. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Manager. Should stand for Customer Reporting Management. The reason they call it Salesforce, you have to force salespeople to use it. Nobody in their right mind would use a CRM if they weren't beat on to do it because they're not designed for engagement. And that's because CRM forgot contact management. They forgot the R in the relationship part. And so most CRMs are sold to managers as a tool for tracking and reporting on leads and salespeople. Number three is the whole outcome of a CRM is basically a deal. What percentage of relationships in your life, Alexandra, are dollar related versus an outcome related? Like this. You're not selling me anything, but we are putting together this video to educate people, and it's going to go as content on G2, which sets you up as a trusted advisor and helps small businesses grow because you're teaching them things like this video, right? So, how would you manage an outgoing process to connect with a person like me to schedule them and send them materials and all that stuff? You do it in spreadsheets. Tell me I'm wrong. Okay. So there's 225 million global businesses. Less than 1% use any CRM because it's not really designed for relationships. Most people, relationship manager is a spreadsheet. And I think that's awful stupid because I invented relationship management and spreadsheets are static. You have to type this stuff in. You have to go to it to use it. So the whole outcome of relationships should be some sort of a process board, like a Kanban board, like a Trello board or a process board. So we basically have things called workflows, which allow you to define a series of stages that you can put people through for PR outreach or podcasts or recruiting or biz dev or lead qualification. You shouldn't put an unqualified lead in your pipeline because it's not qualified. So Nimble is a CRM designed for the whole company, not just salespeople. It's designed to enable you to manage processes other than deals, workflows, and it's a relationship focused CRM. So it's really designed to empower the customer facing business team member to engage more effectively as opposed to the reporting, which we do, but it isn't our emphasis, which goes back to the roots of Goldmine because we really started as a contact tool for the whole company. There was no Outlook back then. So we were Outlook for tens of millions of businesses back in the late 90s.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, thank you. And you've mentioned a couple little tidbits here and there, but I'd love to get a little bit more deeper into your 30 years of experience in the industry. I think that's really special, and you have a lot of knowledge to share. So I'd love to ask you how you've seen um, what significant changes that you've seen in businesses and how they use CRM tools.
That actually reflects back to one of the big problems. People don't really know what a CRM's for. Like before you go buy a business application, think about what you want it for. Applications are a box. You put things in and you get things out, right? What's the input? What's the output? You should define that before you ever embark on getting a CRM. Like, why are you doing it? I think people buy CRMs because FOMO, right? Oh my God, every business has a CRM. Shouldn't I? Okay. Hey, you guys, I'm going to put a CRM and we got to all start using it. For what? To do what? Why are you doing that? So CRM systems are effectively a database. It's a contact database, and so how has that changed over time? It's become more sophisticated because these databases used to just be like a Rolodex. All the cards that I have, I put it in there. I sort of like can go through it. I can find them. Think of a Christmas card list. Every year you go to your little your contact list, and you segment out the people you want to send the cards to. That's typical application for a CRM. But today it's web lead capture, put them on drip tracks, lead score them, hand them to an SDR. SDR pounds them until they actually connects and qualifies. And then you basically would put them into a pipeline thing, and then you send them a quote, and you get sign off, and then you sold them. So then you got to put them in an implementation system. So all of this can reflect around the CRM system. So the CRM becomes the heart of a business. Um, so it's become even deeper connected into the disparate systems that are in your business. So business applications come in two categories: front office, back office. Front office is sales and marketing, back office is accounting, ideally your CRM's tied into all that, because imagine if you could do this. Imagine that somebody delivered a service for your company. Let's say you guys deal with trees and you guys did something to somebody's tree. This actually happened to me. So the invoice is sent through QuickBooks, but once it's paid, then an email goes out to the customer asking for a Google review and a referral, right? Recommendations and referrals. Results on search. Quiet, Google. Recommendations and referrals. So shouldn't that be a process that's built into your business? Well, with things like Nimble, you can, because you set up a webhook to your QuickBooks where when the invoice happens, it automatically will send a sequence of emails with a link to a form that asks them for these things. This is stuff all businesses should be doing. But are they? No. Because I think a lot of enterprise or SaaS companies do this kind of stuff. But you ask a small business person, forget about it. Do you know what the tech stack costs these days? If you want to implement email marketing at a company, it's literally $10,000 a year, and you got to pay it up front for ActiveCampaign or HubSpot. And these products are complicated. And so businesses, small businesses are looking to behave like big businesses without all the costs and complexities. And that's one of the reasons why we have integrated email marketing in with the sales enablement stuff. So you don't have to go out and buy an Outreach IO or SalesLoft, which is the tool you give to the sales rep for templated email tracking, or ZoomInfo for lead enrichment, or email marketing for doing the large scale newsletters and webinar invites, etc. You could do all that with Nimble for a single price, $29. And I think one of the things that I don't like seeing in the industry is if you want to do anything that a normal business would want to do, you have to move up to the next bucket. So basically, they start you out in the $15 bucket, but by the time you're done, you're in the $150 bucket. And everybody in the company has to be in that bucket, even though big chunks of your company aren't using all the sales features. They're just support and admin and other people that are just part of the process of dealing with customers. So I think that software has gotten too complex, too expensive, and there's too many components necessary to build a proper tech stack. And that's one of the reasons why we built Nimble, is to fix that.
Amazing. That's great. Um, and I would love to ask you a little bit more about your journey to finding Nimble and also Goldmine. I mean, you founded two global companies, and that's something not a lot of people get to do in their careers. So I'd love to pick your brain a little bit on that and ask you, what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned from your own entrepreneurship experience?
It's easy to give up. It's harder to stay the course. But staying the course is what delivers the rewards. But it's hard. It's really hard. There's so many days that in doing Goldmine, I just wanted to cry, stay in bed. Like it's not, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But I think there's certain people that have a calling. I have the calling. My calling is I have a purpose in life. I, in the brief period of time that I'm going to be on this planet, I want to grow my soul. The best way for me to grow my soul is by helping other people grow theirs. My gift to other people is helping them to build relationships to achieve their dreams. Ideally, their dreams involve helping others. And then you just recursive that, rinse and repeat. So I'm trying to create a better world by improving myself, by improving others, so they can improve others, so that the world's a better place. Sort of a recursive algorithm there. Um, and so I believe that um, relationships are critical to your life success, but most people don't really manage them well. Most people's contacts are in Google and LinkedIn. And Google, you can't really do much with them. And LinkedIn, if you want to actually make a note or segment it or tag it or anything like that, that's $150 per user per month for Salesforce Navigator. And so I believe that everybody should use a CRM. You should have a personal CRM, because guess what, Alexander? You're not going to work at G2 the rest of your life. But the people that you've met doing these shows and these interactions are going to be your network that's going to allow you to achieve your dreams. So everybody should have a personal CRM and bring it to work with them, you know, because your network is your net worth.
I love that. I think that's a really realistic way to look at entrepreneurship. Like some people, they're just built for it, and some people they're not. And I think that's important to point out.
Yeah, and to dig into that a little bit more, um, setting a setting a course of entrepreneurship, right? I want to get to there, right? Um, Well, what does that mean there? So I have a formula I use for that. It's called the three P's: passion, plan, and purpose. Figure out what your passion is, build a plan to achieve it, make it your purpose on a daily basis. Take that plan and stick it on your mirror or your refrigerator. And every day you get up, say, what am I doing today to get one step closer to there? And keep putting one step in front of each other no matter how hard it gets. Um, and I learned that by reading a book called Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. And it changed my life.
I love that. That's amazing. And I've heard that advice from a couple different people, so I'm thinking I might need to put it into play. I'm
Uh,
thinking there might be something to it now.
yeah.
Well, to close us out on our last question, I think I would be missing a pretty big opportunity to not bring, if I didn't bring up, kind of what's on everybody's mind these days, which is artificial intelligence. So I think you also, like I said, you have an interesting perspective, having seen the CRM industry change in so many different ways throughout the decades. But I'd love to ask you more specifically how you see AI playing a role in the future of CRM platforms.
Well, I think that we all know what we should do, but we don't do it because it's a lot of work. AI can make things easier, right? AI can scan a contact's background and scan your background to help you to communicate more effectively. And by communicating more effectively, um, I think the mistake salespeople make is they talk too much about themselves, their company, and their products. People don't buy great products. They buy better versions of themselves. So when you're communicating with another human being, you should have done your work to know enough about them, their business, their background, and their goals in order to sell that person a better version of themselves, which means doing the prep work, right? Doing your homework, and then synthesizing that information into the proper outreach and then the proper presentations. Most people don't do that. That's a fact, Jack. But AI can help you to do that, to do it better. So I don't think you should use AI and automations to pound the crap out of people because people are tired. Look at my inbox. It's a battle zone. So don't pound people with a bunch of automated emails that are written by some cutesy AI that doesn't really address who it is you're communicating to, what their business is about, and how you can blow some wind in their sails. Because that is your job as a salesperson, is not to make as much money as you can, but to help as many people as you could help grow and achieve their dreams. Because Zig Ziglar said it best, the more people you outgrow, the more you will grow. So um, this gets into that humanness, right? I think that you can sort of see AI in things, right? When you look at a person's picture, you go, wow, that's great, but wow, that's weird. Like something's off about it, right? I think the human brain is more spectacular than we can ever fathom. And that we see this stuff, but we don't know it. We feel it, but we don't know it. And so I think for you to stand out from the crowd, you should use AI, but you should be careful not to overuse it because I really believe that humanness in the age of AI is what's going to help us set ourselves apart. And I have an analogy for you. So back in the gold mine days, I used to send out a lot of mail, and I used to get a lot of mail because my partner and co-founder made a joke. He put my name in every single gold mine database and my address. So and you couldn't delete it. If you deleted it, it reappeared. It's like magic. So I would get this stack of junk mail, like mail that they're sending to their clients. I get it all. But I used it to analyze like what people sent, what it looked like. There's this one person that sent a box that had like a pyramid on top, so you couldn't stack anything on top of it. But what I noticed is that the things that were imperfect stood out. So I did a test. I did a really beautiful letter that was printed on a laser printer with a really fancy Helvetica font and everything. And I tested it against a different thing that I printed, and it looked like courier type, like it was written with the typewriter with like yellow highlights and some words scratched out and changed, like I messed this up, and I'm typing this on my typewriter. It pulled so well. And I've seen that. Like when you make a mistake on an outreach email, sometimes it pulls better because you just stand out. You're more human. So don't fear AI, embrace it, but make sure you're not using it in a way that it's robbing you of your humanness, which will enable you to stand out more effectively to the people you're connecting to.
I love that. Yeah, kind of just embracing that human touch can also introduce some issues, but being okay, like owning it.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up our professional spotlight with Jon Ferrara, founder and CEO of Nimble. For more industry insights content like this, visit our blog at learn.g2.com/tag/industry dash insights. See you next time, and thank you so much again, Jon.
Thank you, Alexandra. It was a real pleasure connecting today with you and your G2 crowd audience.